UK migrant protests spark angry confrontations as government scrambles to respond. It's because everybody's fed up. Everybody's just fed up and sick of it. Everybody's sick of all the thievery, the sexual assaults, the regular assaults, the children being stalked online, the amount of guys that are getting caught trying to meet up with underagers over Facebook and stuff like that. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. The sheer amount of our tax money being used to put them up in hotels and give them benefits and give them clothes and give them this and give them all that stuff, right? When they pass through about 18 different safe countries to actually get here and we're footing the bill for it, and in return, what we get is a bunch of molested children. People are fed up. People are fed up. People are sick of it. People are sick of it and they want rid of them. So now they're actually starting to get really angry and they're starting to protest the hotels. You've literally, I'm sorry, British government, but you've literally been begging for this. You have been asking for it, right, for very, very many years. Right, so now that you're like, oh, what do we do? It's like, how about not the thing that makes everybody angry and destroys people's lives? Yeah. What about not the thing that makes sure that everybody's on minimum wage permanently and social services are completely fucking swamped? Maybe not that. Maybe not that stuff, but anyway, that's usually the bit I save for the end. Opponents and supporters of migrants faced off in angry confrontations at demonstrations held around Britain over the holiday weekend as the government scrambled to deal with fallout from a court order that will force a hotel in a London suburb to evict asylum seekers. The ruling has created a headache for the government, which has struggled to curb unauthorised migration. I don't know why you're struggling. I mean, what happened to Britannia rules the seas, put the Navy in there and stop the boats? Right, you know where a lot of these people are. They actually know where a lot of the illegal migrants are. They just won't go and get them. Just put them on a plane, send them home. Oh, what about their human rights? No. We're not violating any human rights. Right? You don't have a human right to live wherever the fuck you want at all times. Right? Back in a plane, back home. Back in a plane, back home. Oh, but he'll be in danger back home. Well, he survived that long, didn't he? Tough city, fix your country. Fix your country instead of fucking up mine. And fulfill its responsibility to accommodate those seeking refuge. We have no responsibility for that whatsoever. What happened to the responsibility of the 18 other countries that they passed through? What about their responsibility? No, but they come here, and the specific reason is because we give them free shit. We give them free shit, and we have some of the most lax benefits laws and benefit schemes in the world. That's why out of everywhere in Europe, they come here. They come here specifically because we give out the most free shit. That's why. Stop giving out the free shit. Are you a citizen? No? Then you don't get anything. You don't get shit. You have not contributed to the system at all. You have paid zero taxes. You got here 5 minutes ago. We don't know who the fuck you are. You're probably an organised criminal. A lot of them bloody are. Right, you probably literally smuggled guns and heroin over in the fucking boats. Right, by the way, we see loads of people that are saying, oh, the average fucking people smuggler gets paid like 12 grand. Where is Aftab the goat farmer getting 12 grand from? It's because he smuggled 2 bricks of fucking black tar up his fucking jacket and that's how he got into the country. Or like there was children that were smuggled in for reasons that we're not allowed to discuss because basically most of them are being humped by MPs as we speak. But anyway... I forgot I'm not allowed to talk about that. Immigration has become a political flashpoint as countries across the West try to cope with an influx of migrants seeking a better life as they flee war-torn countries, poverty, regions racked by climate change. Shut the fuck up. Or political persecution. The debate in the UK, they're facing so much political persecution that after they come over here and like get their free house and their free money and everything, that they go back to their old country for holidays and to visit family. That's how terrified they are of that country and terrified of persecution, that they actually go back there to visit their family and then come back here. They go there on holiday. That's how terrifying and scary the country is. The debate in the UK has focused on migrants crossing the English Channel in overloaded boats run by smugglers, as well as escalating tensions over housing tens of thousands of asylum seekers at public expense. To help resolve the crisis, the government announced Sunday that it would speed up asylum appeals that could lead to more deportations and clear a backlog of cases. Here's a look at the issue. The protests. The latest round of demonstrations followed weeks of protests outside the Bell Hotel in Epping on the outskirts of London, after a hotel resident allegedly tried to kiss a 14-year-old girl and was charged with sexual assault. He did a little bit more than that, you dishonest fucks. He fucking grabbed her arse and grabbed her down there and everything. Shut the fuck up. Fucking AP. The man had denied the accusations and is due to stand trial later this month. Epping Forest District Council won a temporary injunction to shut down the hotel because of unprecedented levels of protest and disruption, which had led to several arrests. The High Court decision to High Court decision Tuesday in favour of the council, which the government wants to appeal, inspired anti-migrant demonstrators gathering under the banner of Abolish Asylum System to protest over the weekend. The group Stand Up to Racism rallied counter-protesters. Stand Up to Racism is a government-controlled op. The protesters are paid. They're all agents that work for the government. Have you not noticed how they're always there, no matter how late the protest gets announced, where people will go, we're not going to say the specific location, it's going to get announced on the day. Stand Up to Racism are all there with those white vans carrying all the exact same signs with the exact same wood and everything, like all professionally printed, and they're always there on time, and they actually get driven to the location of the protest by the police. Have you ever noticed that? Stand Up to Racism are a government-controlled operation. They're MI5 or MI6 or some shit, right? They literally work for the government. There is no counter-protesters. They're just there to obviously beat up a bunch of the right-wingers, stage a few incidents so the right-wingers get arrested and not them, so the police get to take out some important figureheads in the opposing forces, but also because it makes the public think, oh, there's so many people that are against this. They're not. They're actors. They're not, but I want to be with the good guys that are against it. They're not against it. They're actors. They're fucking actors. One of the biggest ones is Paul Sillett. He's a paid fucking government fed. He's a narc. He's a fucking snitch, right? So, and also see if you're an Antifa and you're like, we're planning this and that and everything, and then suddenly you get raided. See if Paul Sillett heard about it. He snitched on you, right? He's a fed. But anyway, two groups hurled insults at each other and in several communities Saturday as police struggled in places like Bristol to keep them apart. There were more than a dozen arrests, but no serious violence reported. Groups gathered peacefully outside hotels used to house migrants in Birmingham and London's Canary Wharf on Sunday. The hotels. The government is legally obligated to house asylum seekers. No, we're not. No, we're not. Just say no. We're an independent sovereign country. Say no. Just say fucking no. Just say nope. Away you go. Send them straight back. That's it. We've no duty of care. Right. See if they were literally an immediate instant neighbour and we really were the nearest, safest country. Okay then, maybe. Say if shit kicked off in Northern Ireland or something, or things kicked off in Ireland, or there was a bit of a famine in Ireland again, or whatever. Okay, we're the nearest neighbouring safest country. Fine, I consider them refugees. Fine, there's a little olive branch. See the guy from Turkey, Afghanistan, Iraq, India that had to pass through like 18 different safe countries that all have food and no war and no persecution to get here specifically for the money? No, they can go the fuck back. They can go the fuck back. Fuck off. Using hotels to do so had been a marginal issue until 2020, when the number of asylum seekers increased sharply, and the then Conservative government had to find new ways to house them. A record 111,084 people applied for asylum in the year to June 2025, but fewer than a third of them are temporarily living in hotels, according to Home Office figures released Thursday. The number of asylum seekers housed in hotels stood at just over 32,000 at the end of June, the Home Office said. That figure was up 8% from about 29,500 a year earlier, but far below the peak of more than 56,000 in September of 2023. Now, I think this exposes another really, really great thing is the government is letting them all in, but doesn't actually have the money or resources to build housing for them or build temporary accommodation. So the government, like it's always had to do, has again had to approach the private sector, that in this case being the hotel owners, saying, hey, we'll give you like an exorbitant amount of money if you put these guys up in your hotel, and we'll pay for all the repairs and etc that we have to do. Right, so that's the government basically admitting, once again, we caused a problem that they can't fucking fix, so we're going to use your taxpayers' money to ask the private sector, because that's all the government is. It's a middleman between us and the private companies. The government doesn't build ambulances. It doesn't build police cars. It doesn't make police uniforms. It doesn't even do the police's weapons. It doesn't even do the handcuffs. All the fucking stuff that's in the NHS. Private companies make that. The government doesn't produce syringes or pharmaceuticals or anything like that. The government is a middleman between us and the private companies. That's all it is. It goes, no, you don't want to deal with the private companies. We're going to deal with the private companies on your behalf. So what we'll do is you give us £100 in your taxes, and after we deduct our own wages and fritting away money, and we'll give you £15 worth of service, right? That's what they do. They're middlemen that pocket most of the fucking money, right? We're also going to take a bit of the money to use for other things, drone striking children. They're not going to drone strike themselves, like we're going to get involved in global homo wars all around the world and everything, and at the end of the day, you get about £10 worth of service for your £100. Maybe you'll get it in about 9 months. Also, no, we shut down the call centres. You have to write us a letter, which we'll respond to in 12 months. Right? It's a fucking shambles. Right? It's an absolute fucking shambles. The government has to constantly go fucking begging to the private sector with our money to fix the mistakes that they fucking made. Which is why I'm libertarian. But anyway, many politicians, such as hard-right Reform UK leader Nigel Farage, they're calling him hard-right now instead of far-right. Wow, he got upgraded. Have sought to link many of the problems the country faces, such as healthcare and housing, to migrant arrivals. It is, in fact, because of that. It is, in fact, because of that. Right, the reason that you're taking so long to get a hospital appointment or get seen by the doctors is because of the migrants. Because basically, I've said this a million times, I don't know why people don't get it. NHS and social services and school fundings are all calculated based on the amount of people that live in the area as well as the amount of taxes that person has paid throughout their life. It's calculated by the amount of people putting money into the pot. What's happened now is a bunch of new people have came in who are all putting their hands in the pot who have never paid into the pot in their entire lives. So when you have more people, more hands taking money out of the pot than there is putting money into the pot, the money fucking runs out. At which point the government and council has to start making cuts. Instead of getting your bin collected every week, it's now every 2 weeks. Or sorry, now it's every 3 weeks. Or sorry, now we only collect it on these certain specific days. You also have to arrange them by fucking recycling and all that type of stuff. Oh yeah, the doctors, remember the day you used to get a doctor to your house? Now you have to phone up and argue with a fucking receptionist who has no medical degree whatsoever, and you can only phone between 8 o'clock and 8:30 in the morning. At the same time, hundreds of other people are also trying to call to speak to this one receptionist so that you can argue your case to maybe get an appointment, maybe get a phone appointment in about 4 months, right? How did that happen? Right, because it's either too many people are using the service and they're fucking swamped, or there's no fucking money left to run it the way it used to be run. What changed? What happened? I can think of a few things, but bugger off. Others, including the government, argue that the likes of Nigel Farage are whipping up the issue for political gain and that there are no easy answers to an issue affecting many European countries. There is an easy answer. Get rid of them. Send them back. Send them back. That's it. Just send them back. We do not have a duty of care. The leader of the main opposition Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, urged Tory councils all over the country to launch legal challenges similar to that of Epping if their legal advice allowed. Basically, the reason that they managed to get them out of the Epping hotel is it was the funniest thing. They actually had to use the government's own bureaucracy against it. Because the government turns around and goes, no, you will do this, you will have the migrants, you will have your 12-year-old daughter getting really inappropriate sexual dick pics on fucking Facebook from random men from this hotel. Right, you will have that. However, what they've done was, this hotel is being used as a facility to house migrants. That was not in the planning permission requested by the hotel when it was first built. Therefore, the hotel is in violation of its planning permission agreement. And then the council had to kind of go, oh, because the council enforces that shit fucking hard, by the way. I know people that have had to tear sheds down, tear fences down over the minus... Basically, we have a countrywide HOA. We have a countrywide HOA where it doesn't matter if you outright own your house, the council gets to decide what you are and are not allowed to do to it. It's a fucking nightmare. Right, even something as simple as putting a window in, you need to do it to their exact specifications if you're lucky enough to get the permission to do it. But basically, because they're so hardcore on it, they went, let's file a planning permission thing. And the council came down hard on it because they're hard on that shit. That's why the migrants are being moved out of that hotel. Right, so that's why other people are going, and they're all now filing their same submissions, right, to get all the migrants kicked out of the hotels. And it's hilarious that the government's own over-the-top bureaucracy has been used against it. I just think that's fucking funny. I just think that's really fucking funny and deserved. The ruling Labour Party dismissed her appeal as desperate and hypocritical nonsense, but several Labour-led councils have also suggested they too could mount legal action against asylum hotels in their areas. The worry is that tensions could explode into the sort of violence that ravaged many towns and cities in England last summer in the wake of a stabbing rampage at a dance class that left 3 girls dead and several wounded because it was done by a black terrorist man. It was that's why people were upset about it. Why are you leaving out that little detail, AP? I know why. The government's first priority is to sharply decrease the number of dangerous channel crossings. We have the means to do it over and over. We're just not doing it. That's the problem. There have been more than 27,000 unauthorised arrivals so far this year, nearly 50% higher than at the same point last year, and ahead of the number at this time... ahead of the number at this time of year in 2022, when a record 45,755 came ashore, the Home Office said. Having ditched the Conservative administration's plans to send migrants who arrived by unauthorised means to Rwanda, Prime Minister Keir Starmer said his government would disrupt the gangs profiting off of migrant trafficking. The French authorities actually know who they are. They're quite happy because it means that they're quite happy for them to continue because it gets them off of French shores and into British waters, which means that not a problem anymore, monsieur. Like, the French officials know who the fucking traffickers are. They're working in France. They're on the beach coordinating the fucking shit. They're not some, like, secret masterminds like fucking Kaiser Sose fucking shit. No, the French know who they are. They just won't do anything about it because they're dealing with a problem for them. But anyway, the government is also looking to speed up processing asylum claims. It's hoping a deal with France to send migrants who cross the channel back to France will deter for others. Whether those plans succeed, the issue of what to do with the tens of thousands of asylum seekers in the country remains. The government scrapped the use of a barge to house migrants off the south coast earlier this year and plans to end housing at military barracks in Kent next month. But a former airbase in Essex is expected to add more beds for men seeking asylum. The easiest option would most likely house asylum seekers in the private sector. So basically pay landlords exorbitant amounts. I am a land chad. The answer is fucking no. But that risks compounding problems in the rental market in a country where house building has been low for years because there is so much governmental red tape on where and when people are allowed to build homes. Barratt homes and all these other places are, I realise Barratt's a bit of a meme. They're called McMansions for a reason, right? But basically, they've been champing at the bit. They have the means to go around and build shit tons of fucking housing everywhere. They just have to go through a monumental amount of red tape, right, in order to make it happen. Basically, the government's wrapped itself up in its own bureaucracy. That's why there's not enough housing, and that's why it has to get rid of the migrant hotels, because it's fell victim to its own bureaucracy. Turns out over-regulation is a very bad thing. Who fucking knew? But anyway, there we go. It's the end of the article. But yeah, the entire thing's a fucking shit show, and of course people are rioting, and I might get any trouble for all the things that I say, so because in regards to the riots, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut at the end of these videos now.